And welcome back to the Chicago Bears franchise rebuild. Here today we will be going through year 8 of the franchise, going through an off season, going through the draft, as well as the regular season, and if there's any sort of postseason. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought of today's action, and don't forget to subscribe. Well, we came one game away. We got to the NFC Championship again. We were one game away from making it to a Super Bowl. And now we're kind of hitting a, kind of the ceiling of this roster. As we enter now into this episode here, we have, this episode, year 9 and then year 10. We got 3 more episodes, indefinite. There's no more time to develop players. It's time to sit here and say on this roster who can stay and continue to produce good numbers and who on this roster can't, basically. So at the end of the day, this is kind of leading my decision here with quarterback Cliff Nicholson. He's gotten us to the playoffs 4 straight years. He's gotten us to 2 NFC Championship games, at least appearances. He's a top 22 quarterback in the league. He's not going to leave the building. That's just as simple as I can put it. We're either going to franchise tag him or we're going to extend him. That's right off the rip. That's when I got to sit here and say. Though we have 2 key important starters on defense that are looking for contracts as well. Josh Allen entering into his age 33 year. He's still a top 10 defensive end, still a top tier pass rusher, still our best pass rusher. It's going to be very difficult to let him go, and it's going to be also difficult to keep him. And then, of course, Jalen Johnson, 31 years old, entering into year 11, still a top 5 corner in the league. These are 2 critical key pieces on this defense that we really can't afford to lose at this moment in time, because it's not like we can go into the draft and draft a top tier corner or edge rusher. So I do expect today's episode to be there's a lot of change that will happen to the roster. We're going to try to spend money in free agency. We're going to try to be a little bit more aggressive than we have been. And even in the draft, I want to get the good players. So that's what we're going to end up doing. Well, we have $136 million, and we have a lot of key decisions. As I alluded to at the beginning of the video, Cliff Nicholson, we have Jalen Johnson and Josh Allen here, both wanting new extensions, as well as Deontay Kemp here. We have a couple role players. Let's get the 2 easy decisions out of the way. And I do want to pick up this 5th-year option here for Doug Anthony, excuse me. He's still young. He's still a good receiver, and having that 5th year, an extra season with him, I think would be beneficial. Same thing here with Trent Shetfield. He's still a very good safety, and for $12 million, it's not that bad for next season. Let's go kind of down the line here. For Michael Dixon here, we'll give him this 1-year contract. He accepts. Let's continue on. For Branch, Stoudemire, Corey, Will, Dean, we'll let these guys all go. Same with Pat McLean, Troy Smith. Kemp here would be the only interesting one if we wanted to keep him, just to sit here and say that we don't need to keep Josh Allen. But I honestly think that we're not going to keep anyone else and try to keep these 3 guys. So let's start here with Josh. He wants a 1-year, $15 million contract. I'm going to give him a bigger contract, trying to just load up on him on a big 1-year contract. So 1 year, $19 million, and he accepts. So happy to keep him around. And then Jalen Johnson here, he also only wants a 1-year deal, which I'm more than happy to go year-in-year basis with these guys. And for Johnson, I want to give him a 1-year, $25 million contract, and he is also happy to resign. So we keep our 2 key defenders. Now it's up to Cliff Nicholson. And this is a very manageable contract. So I definitely want to extend him. He's a good quarterback in this league. He's got to the postseason a couple times. So how about a 3? Let's make it a 4-year contract. 4 years, $67 million. We're gonna keep Cliff Nicholson. Nicholson will be our quarterback for the rest of this franchise. I drafted him to be this. I only had a year to play with him, and unfortunately, that's the case. So we'll enter into a free agency with money, with $73 million. I don't think any of these guys are really worth keeping. You could argue Beach here at kicker, the best kicker in the game, but he's coming off of a down season, 69 complete or field goal percentage, which is nice, but it's not good. He's kind of had a couple good, he's had bad years, so let's just continue moving forward. We still have a young kicker on the roster. I think there's still the bug for the free agency, so I'm gonna have to skip the first round and get to stage 2. And yes, we cannot make any sort of signings here in stage 1. And so we're gonna be missing out probably on some key players that I probably would have targeted. George Pickens might have been actually a fantastic target for us, just to get a top tier wide receiver on this team. But let's go check out the roster. We have $73 million. Is there any sort of moves that we want to make now that's like in terms of a trade? So let's go through the needs of this roster. We'll just generate the best lineup currently on the roster. So we got to figure out the running back position. I think Royals is an excellent power back, but that's not going to cut it. I like Reggie Silver, but unfortunately, I don't think he's going to play well in the sim. So we have to figure out who's going to be that bell cow running back, and that might be a spot we look to trade. DJ Moore here is now 33, I believe. Yes, 33. He's not going to get any younger. He's still a top 15 wide receiver in this league, but does he have 3 more years left in him in playing? That's the question right now for DJ Moore. So wide receiver, in my opinion, if we can upgrade, we should. Tyler Scott's entering into his final year, and he's a fine number 2 wide receiver, but kind of got to find that top tier guy. I think tackle is still a spot that we should address in this at some point here in free agency. And then defensively, well, I think linebacker should be a spot. I think you could argue defensive tackle, but I think if there's only a veteran out there, then maybe. Edge rusher is important just due to depth and Josh Allen's age. You could also say corner right now. Ben Allen here is the 3rd corner, but do we really want to go with him? I don't know just yet. So we got to find some cornerstones on this team. But I kind of want to make a trade I want to look around the league and see if there's any sort of running backs that I can make a trade for. That's kind of like the first order of business in my opinion. So a deal has been made here, trading away Joey Felix, Jacoby Moss, and Cortez Watkins. A 3 next year, a 5, a year after that at a 7. We're gonna get Eric Choice here. He's a running back. He's number 11th ranked right now currently in the franchise. He has 1 year left on his contract, 26 years old. But I think that this will give us that star running back on the roster that can make some plays for us. Joyce has been a quality back over these last few seasons. He's at least hit 1,000 yards, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that type of production. And he's kind of on a cheap contract right now. So 26, we'll probably extend him, and he'll be our back probably for the next couple of seasons. So because of the fact that we can't really make any other sort of moves, and that was probably the biggest trade that I'm going to make, we're going to sim now to the next week and start making some negotiations. So I've thrown out some offers here. Colton Miller, George Kittle here, Kevin Crutchfield, Danny Thomas, and Deion Sims. I got a couple tight ends that I want to just kind of fill out the roster. Sims is on for a multi-year deal. Same with Danny Thomas and Kevin here. All these guys these 2 vets here on 1-year deals just to improve the roster. I'm hoping that, Kevin will basically be, if we can get him, will be basically the plan B to whenever Josh Allen decides to retire. We have the cap space to do so. Danny Thomas here can become a solid tackle for the next few seasons for us, and Deion Sims can be a solid number 2 tight end, at least for the last 2 years. Just hoping that Colton Miller comes here and finally kind of being our left tackle. So let's evaluate. Let's see what we got. So we were able to sign Kevin Crutchfield here. He's a pass rusher. He's played in Indy for the last few seasons, 27 years old. He's more of a power rusher. He's complete pass rushing skills. He has never hit a 10-sack season, but I think he will be a solid depth first player on the roster, as well as most likely being our next starting edge rusher potentially for a season. And Deion Sims, he's an excellent vertical threat type of tight end. He can catch, he can get down the field, and he'll be a solid number 2. Still waiting for Miller, Kittle, and Thomas here. And I am going to actually change the offer here for Danny. I want to make sure that we can secure him. I don't remember exactly what I was offering it before, but let's do this new deal, and hopefully he will come to us. I added a couple more bids here. Darnell Davis here, solid number, could be a solid number 3 wide receiver for us. And Kendrick Green, just for at least to start at the linebacking spot. And we did sign some players: Colton Miller, George Kittle, Danny Thomas here, Kendrick Green, as well as Deion Sims, and I actually have already called that out. I don't remember if we got everyone. Let's look at around the league real quick. So George Pickens, he signed, he went to the Commanders. Jairi probably would have been another target of mine. He's going to the Raiders. Denzel Ward here going to the Cowboys. Not seeing too many players. Stevenson going back to the Giants. I don't remember who else I was trying to target. Oh yeah, Darnell Davison. He signs with now the Vikings, so it's kind of an unfortunate. I wanted a young receiver that's kind of established, that had a high enough overall, but couldn't get him. It looks like we have right around like $15-ish million to work with. Or excuse me, 24. I'll see if I can make any other moves if there's someone else that I would want to bring in. And we'll go from there. And I'm going to make 3 more targets here. Clark Phillips here, solid 3rd corner option. Jamal Adams, he was on the team for a season and looking to bring him back, just quality depth. Then John Franklin Myers, continuing the trend that Myers is in my every single one of my franchises. So let's see if we get 3 more Bears. They all either make a decision. So we got Adams, Clark Phillips, and John Franklin Myers. So filled out some depth on the team. I think that's enough money spent. Let's get to the draft. As we've made it to the NFL draft, this is the current state of the roster. Offensively, we upgraded at running back with Choice here. Cedric Choice here, traded from the Rams, hoping that he can be that solid every down back for us. Brought in 2 new tackles in Colton Miller and Danny Thomas here, hoping that these 2 guys can kind of solidify the tackle position for at least a season or 2, mostly with Miller here. And then defensively, we were able to go out there, bring in a solid backup / starting outside linebacker. Got a couple backup edge rushers here and potentially a future starter here in Kevin Coatfield. Clark Phillips as their 3rd corner. And I think as we entered into this draft class, now without a 3rd round pick, what do? We're picking late. We're not going to be able to trade all the way up without trading away too many assets. So, I think what we're going to try to do, we're going to just go BPA, best player available. Might be more of a defensive heavy, just because I don't think that we're going to be able to get a top tier wide receiver to come to this roster with the 30th overall selection. But the New England Patriots hold the 1st overall picking of the 2030 NFL draft, and they will select Jonathan Lane, tackle out of Tennessee. Big time tackle here. Let's get to our selection and let's make some decisions. And here with the 30th overall selection, Carl Ellis here will be this pick. He's a pass rusher, plays left end. I think he can play on either the edge or in the inside. And let's get into this roster here. And Carl's normal dev, 88 strength, 78 speed. Probably a better interior pass rusher, but I think he can play on the outside as well. Happy with this selection if he has a good overall. And here in the second round, I'm looking just to trade out of this selection. There's no one really that I'm interested in here in the second round, so we're gonna pick up a next year's 2. We get an extra 5 and a next year's 6 here from the Bills. Happy with that decision. Percy Hitchcock here will be the selection here in the 4th round. He's a deep threat, and he was the fastest in the class with 95 speed. Well, it says he ran the fastest 40 time. Normal dev though, maybe a solid, just 5th receiver. Trent Baker here, left outside linebacker, just wanting to get some depth on this roster. 83 speed, normal dev. Trying to get another linebacker on the roster, this time a right outside linebacker. And again, here in the 5th round, we have 2 5th round picks, 82 speed, 91 acceleration, also normal development. Dante Ellington here in the 6th round, a defensive tackle, 84 strength, normal dev, speed rusher archetype. And we're gonna end the 7th round here with another linebacker, Chris Ballard here. A-zone coverage, 80 speed, and we finally hit on a hidden development. Happy to see that at least here in the 7th round. And here's the draft, everyone. And it's really kind of just one player here. And that is Carl Ellis here, defensive end. Probably a better inside than outside, but we're gonna play him on the to allow him to play on the outside as well. The only other notable is Percy Hitchcock here, the deep threat. Has a lot of work to do, but that 95 speed you can't teach. And Chris Ballard here, the only hidden development player. Yeah, he has a lot of work to do to become even just like a role player on this defense. This draft class was mostly to get depth here. Don't forget this, we only had one, I decided to only pick one player in the first 3 rounds. So I would sit here and say getting a couple low 60 overall players to kind of fill out the depth of the roster isn't bad at all. So let's get through year 8. Let's go see what we can do. Let's make some sort of noise here. Let's get back to the playoffs. The journey starts now, as this will be the opening day roster for our year number 8 in today's episode. So we're gonna go through the whole season. If you're new to the channel, we're gonna go through this whole regular season. We'll stop at certain points like weeks 6, 8, 13, and 18, in those ranges, and make adjustments if necessary to the roster. But we brought in a new big-time running back. Hopefully this piece here can kind of fill in some good holes here. Cliff Nicholson, high expectations on him. We went out there and brought him 2 new tackles to help him out and to solidify this offensive line. Defensively, we were able to keep both Jalen Johnson and Josh Allen, while also bringing in a couple players like Kevin Cutfield, as well as Clark Phillips, to kind of fill in the depth across this defense. I'm really hoping that players like Steven Timmons, Josh Allen, Chuck Clark, Jalen Johnson, Max Cox, and Danny Reeves can kind of lead this defense. I know I didn't improve this linebacking core probably to the extent that I could have, but it's very hard. And this is a major season for this franchise because, I think that this might be the last year for Josh Allen, and I would sit here and say that he is our major puzzle piece to this defense. And if he leaves and retires, it puts a major hole on us. I mean, he's coming off an 18.5 sack season. He's had 3 years of over 10 sacks, and he's come close 3 other times. So we'll see what we can do here. Let's get into year 8. Let's have a hot start. I'll see you guys right around like week 5, 6. Well, this is not the start that we were looking for. We're currently 1-3, and offensively, we're still putting up good points. We're still passing the ball relatively well. It's hard for us to run the football, and our defense has yet to wake up. It's kind of the classic story for this franchise. It takes us a while to kind of get going here. Let's check out some free agents here. We have almost $80 million. Steven Timmons, Danny Reeves, Eric Choice, Jalen Johnson, Christian Ryans, Josh Allen, Oh my goodness, we have a lot here that we have to make decisions on. Damn. You know, we have a lot of key starters, a lot of players that we don't really want to replace. You know, we really can't replace a player like Steven Timmons, you know. A player like Danny Reeves, we can't really replace. Eric Choice, we just traded for. We gotta give him a new deal. We gave up a lot to go get him. Jalen Johnson and Josh Allen, who knows with their futures. Thankfully, someone like Christian Ryans is not wanting a big contract. So it is doable to get these guys to come back. For now, we're not gonna really negotiate. I'm gonna continue simming to the to week 8. Well, we have popped off 3 victories in a row, and now we find ourselves 4-3, and it's kind of a 3-way tie right now. The Lions hold the first place record, and it looks like we're starting to figure things out, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Let's check out some stats here. So far, Nicholson, 12 touchdowns, 4 picks, not too bad at all. Eric Choice is having a good season, exactly what we want to see from him. Doug Anthony is leading the way for the receiving aspect. It's still our top 3 receivers. Jerry Gay has slowed down ever since getting that new contract from us. Offensive line, the left side is struggling again, but nothing to worry about there. Defensively, Josh Allen providing a lot of pressure. The interior, kind of, sort of, a little bit. And we are getting some interceptions, so that's at least a good, hopeful sign here. We've yet to see one from Danny Reeves. And we are at the trade deadline. I'm not thinking about making some sort of deal right now. I mean, unless we really think that, I just don't think so. I do want to start negotiating with these players here. Let's start off here with Steven Timmons. He is probably one of the more important ones. And I would like to keep him for the rest of the franchise. And he doesn't sign that 4-year deal. I think that was like $82 million. So gotta kind of go back to the drawing book with him. Danny Reeves here. You know, he's a quality safety. Want to keep him for the next 3 years. Got it done. Eric Choice, we just signed him, or we just traded for him. And I don't want him to leave the building. So a 3-year, $30 million, he signs that. And then for Christian Ryans here, who does not want a lot of money, but I will give him a 4-year extension. Happy about that. We still have $36 million. And players that we have to make decisions on, or, you know, we still have to give this extension to Steven Timmons, see what he does, because he might need to be franchise tag, and I'm okay with doing that for going to be a 29, 30-year-old linebacker. For Jalen Johnson and Josh Allen here, not looking to negotiate with them until free agency starts. Caleb Royal is probably going to let him go. This is going to be a tough one, what we do with Tyler Scott. And then for everyone else here, I just don't see a reason to negotiate with them. So we'll see. We shall see with this team. Let's get through this season. Let's get to probably like week 13 and see where we are. Well, the wins just keep coming here as we've now won, I believe, 5 in a row. We're now 7-3, first place in the division, just coming off of a major victory over the Seattle Seahawks, 42-20. Cliff Nicholson put together an excellent game. Still have yet to be able to re-sign Steven Timmons. Trying to offer him as much money as we possibly can before it kind of gets out of hand here. But so far, so good. We're a top-tier team. Let's get to week 18. Let's see what we can do and how this team kind of shakes out. And I offered Steven Timmons here a 4-year, $94 million. And he believes free agency is the best fit for him. So that just now kind of leaves us to tag him or send him off to free agency and do something with it. We have made it to week 18, and that that's not good. Yeah, this is a huge critical postseason run. I know that might be a little bit of a spoiler as the screen loads, but we're 11-5, just about to play against the 8-8 Buffalo Bills here, and we're gonna make the postseason yet again here, and it could be as the number 2 seed. Let's go see if we can get this victory. Maybe that could bump us up to the number 1 seed. Who knows? Let's see. Who will we be playing in the postseason? We lost to the Bills, and we'll be playing against the 9-8 Arizona Cardinals. We really have not played against this Cardinals team in a while now. I actually really don't know who their starting quarterback even is. I believe Kyler Murray is no longer there. So I'm gonna get through these upgrades. You know, with all these players, I kind of do different skill sets. Like going run stopper here with Chuck Clark. He's a top 10 pass rusher now. Happy about that. But someone like D'Angelo Martinez will never be an excellent pass rusher. I still try to work on it just to allow his ratings to kind of support him a little bit better. Still. But before we get into this postseason run here, let's look at some stats here. Cliff Nicholson coming off another good season, 31 touchdowns, 6 picks for him. Nicholson continues to kind of show that he's a starting caliber type of quarterback in this league. You know, the last 3 seasons, over 28 touchdowns, right around 6 interceptions, 4,000-ish passing yards. Yeah, he's playing good here. And hopefully he can continue to lead us down the right path. Eric Choice, 1,100 yards, 8 scores. Royals found the end zone 11 times. Hey, this is what we wanted to. This is the reason we brought in Eric. He fixed our running game. DJ Moore and Doug Anthony eclipsed 1,000 yards and 8 scores apiece. Tyler Scott hit 907 scores, and Jerry Gay had a bounce back season, I would say. No one else really got involved, but that's okay. In terms of offensive line, Colton Miller allowed 11 sacks. Their left side struggled, but you know, we figured out, you know, this offensive line. Steven Timmons leads us with 137 tackles, but look at Josh Allen's season. 95 tackles here, and he's playing defensive end. He's not even playing linebacker. 30 TFLs and 23 sacks. My God. Chuck Gardner also had an excellent season with 20 TFLs and 12 sacks. That's number 2 on the defense. Our 2 interior defensive tackles each got 4 sacks, and not a lot of other production behind them. Jalen Johnson, who for the last few seasons now has not recorded, I believe, an interception. Yeah, for the last 2 years, he has not, and he just picked up 5 at 31 years old, making $25 million. Hey, that's pretty good. Clark Phillip here got 4 of his own, so happy to see that. And before we kind of sim and continue, let's just do a little bit of an update here with some of the league leaders. We'll start with our team and just our stats alone. I think the players that I want to look at is players like a DJ Moore, 1,500 or a ton of receiving talent, 100 touchdowns, almost 1,000 receptions here, so that's pretty impressive here. Josh Allen has over 137 sacks. Chuck Gardner just hit over 50 sacks. Here's Steven Timmons. He's been here his whole career so far. Martinez just got 4 to 14. And then interceptions, Jalen Johnson has 21. Max Cox has 13. And then let's just look at the leaders here. I'm not gonna put a lot of emphasis in this. Here's Patrick Mahomes. Here are his career stats up to this point, leading the way in even touchdowns. And Justin Fields leads the way in interceptions. So hey, I mean, that's something to lead your hat on. You know, I know we traded him away, but hey, he has the most career interceptions actively. Jonathan Taylor is the most rushing yards in the active league, and DJ Moore leads the way for us. And then defensively, it looks like Max Crosby and Jairi here leads the way with interceptions and sacks respectfully. So let's get through this postseason run here. Let's see if we can get to the Super Bowl. It starts off here in wild card action versus the Arizona Cardinals. Do we get past them? We don't. We lost our last 2 regular season games and then finished this season after being, I believe, the number 2 seed. Yeah, we lost 27-24. And that's just a tough pill to swallow. I mean, I was all ramped up, excited to get into this playoff run, and now we kind of have to bang our head against the wall yet again. Looking at the Pro Bowl list, Cliff Nicholson, he gets in. He's the top-rated quarterback. And Keith Randall here on his second team, he got back into he just made a Pro Bowl. No running backs here. Cam Richardson got it, but he's on a new team. DJ Moore, he's in. Jerry Gay, top-tier tight end. Cole Clement is even in here. Derby got in again. He's always been a Pro Bowler. Josh Allen made it in. Is that Carlos Watkins here? I want to say it is. I'm gonna have to check on Watkins and his stats here. Just a minute. Steven Timmons made it in as a Pro Bowler. Max Cox, I believe that's Jalen Johnson. So yeah, we have plenty of Pro Bowler talent. This was the season. This was the year, and we blew it. But let's go see what Carlos Watkins did here for the LA Rams to warrant a Pro Bowl. We traded him and a couple other players here. Watkins now, 78 overall. 9 sacks, a career high in TFLs as well, and he made the most out of his opportunity. I don't know if they gave him a contract extension, but he had a good year. So let's get past the Super Bowl week. Let's look at yearly awards and again, bang our heads on the wall. And guess who's back into the Super Bowl? The Atlanta Falcons. Desmond Ridder, though, went to 5 straight, or actually, I think it's been more than 5. They just beat the New York Jets 35-23. I want to sit here and say they have been in it for the last 6 Super Bowls. So here's one, they lost. Then they won versus the Texans, lost versus the Chiefs, lost again versus the Chiefs, and then beat the Jets. So what? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. The Falcons have made it to the fucking Super Bowl. They're 2-3. Goddamn Desmond Ridder. Let's check out these retirements for us. There's a couple of players, a couple great corners who retired right there. Dak Prescott retired. My goodness, there is a lot of top-tier talent. So Joey Bosa, Colton Miller, DJ Moore has called it a career. Oh no. Oh no. DJ Moore has retired. He's definitely a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about that. But that stings. I mean, that definitely stings. DJ Moore, he's retiring as an 85 overall, entering into year 13 or 14. I was very worried when I think this was the first, that was the first year of simming, and he didn't have 1,000 yards. I was worried that he was just going to decline during the sim era, but damn, DJ's going to be missed 100%. So that leaves a massive hole in the receiving core, and really in general. But it does open up money. That's the other way to kind of think about it. These are all our practice squad players. We'll just auto upgrade all of them. But it does give us some money back. I mean, he was making a decent change, so I believe we should have, yes, so $73 million as we enter into next episode. Yeah, let's just generate this best lineup here. I mean, this kind of forces our hand here with a player like Tyler Scott. We can't afford to let a guy like Scott walk. He's still a borderline good number 3 wide, one of the better number 3 wide receivers in the league. And, you know, he's coming off of a season of back-to-back 900-yard campaigns. He's been a consistent playmaker for us, you know. And this is now Doug Anthony's time. It's Jerry Gay who just went back up to an X Factor. Oh my goodness. Cliff Nicholson also here. He went up to superstar development. Defensively, Max Cox as well as Jalen Johnson back up to superstar development. I think even Carl Phillips. Yeah, he got star dev. We got some new development traits. I even see Danny Reeves lost his superstar, which is sad. Trent Shetfield got to star development. Orlando Winters, our last year's first round pick, he just got up to star development, so that's nice. But damn, as we're gonna be entering into year 9 in next episode, we no longer have DJ Moore. And we're back to the drawing board here with both Jalen Johnson and Josh Allen, as well as Steven Timmons. I mean, these are our 3 cornerstones on defense. I mean, you take these 3 guys away, then the next 3 guys really is Danny Reeves, Max Cox, and Chuck Clark here, or Chuck Gardner, excuse me. And I don't know if they're really, you know, those type of caliber players just yet. I have no idea. So we got some decisions to be made here. Offensively, I think we're in a better spot entering into this up and coming off season. We got to figure out the receiving position, because I don't know if really both Doug Anthony and Tyler Scott and Jerry Gay can lead the team. Might have to consider finding a new tackle on the roster. We could go into next year with Caleb here, who's an excellent pass protector, or we look to trade him. But thankfully we have our running back. We have a solid number 1 receiver in Doug Anthony, and we have Jerry Gay, and we have Cliff Nicholson. I'm so surprised that I'm sitting here and saying this, but Nicholson in his 5 years as a starter, or excuse me, 6 years as a starter, he's gone to the playoffs every single season. He might have been one and done 1 or 2 times, but he's turned into our quarterback and our franchise quarterback of the future, and hopefully it continues for us. So guys, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, let me know down below if there's any sort of changes that you think that I should be making to these type of episodes. There are, yes, 2 more confirmed episodes before this series is wrapped up. If we do not make it to the Super Bowl, we don't make it to the Super Bowl. In the last episode, I will go through and try to find all the players that I have drafted and who I've brought in, and just kind of give you guys an overlook with some of these guys, especially kind of just how they've changed in terms of their career and stuff, and we'll see. So guys, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you as we enter into year 9 of the Chicago Bears franchise rebuild. See you next time.